Imagine if you can that you're standing at the very edge of the known world. It is the middle of winter in the year 125 AD, and you are currently stationed on the northernmost frontier of the Roman Empire. Beneath the soles of your heavy boots lies the rough, unforgiving stone of Hadrian's wall, a structure that stretches like a grey ribbon across the landscape, dividing civilization from the wild, untamed lands of the north. But right now, in the deepest hours of the night, the politics of empires and emperors feel very far away. Right now, there is only you, the stone and the wind. Take a deep breath and let the cold, crisp air fill your lungs. You can taste the frost in the air, a metallic, sharp sensation that wakes up your senses even as your body begins to settle into the rhythm of the watch. It is a dark night, the kind of darkness that feels heavy and absolute, wrapping around the hills and valleys like a thick velvet curtain. Above you, the sky is a vast dome of obsidian, scattered with stars that look like chips of ice, distant and unblinking. They offer a little light, just enough to see the outline of your own breath as it escapes your lips in a slow, rhythmic cloud of white mist, drifting away for a moment before vanishing into the wind. The wind is constant here. It rolls down from the Caledonian highlands, sweeping over the heather and the peat bogs, gathering speed until it hits the stone face of the wall. You can hear it whistling through the crenellations, a low, mournful sound that has become the soundtrack to your life for the past few months. It tugs at your clothes, seeking a way in, searching for any gap in your armour. But you are well prepared. You are a legionnaire of Rome, and you know how to survive the cold. Shift your weight slightly from one foot to the other, feeling the solid reassurance of the stone beneath you. You are wrapped in your pennula, the heavy hooded military cloak that is your best friend on nights like this. It is coloured a deep dull red, the colour of dried clay, and it is made from thick, coarse wool. It is not the soft, refined wool you might find in a market in Rome or Naples. This is rough, sturdy fabric woven tightly to repel the rain and the sleet. It still holds the faint, oily scent of lanolin, the natural grease of the sheep's wool that makes it waterproof. When the rain comes, as it often does in this damp island province of Britannia, the water simply beads up on the surface of your cloak and rolls off, leaving you dry underneath. Pull the edges of the cloak tighter around you. Feel the rough texture of the wool against your chin and cheek. It is scratchy, but it is a good scratchiness, a sensation that reminds you of warmth and protection. Inside this heavy woolen shell, your body heat is trapped, creating a personal microclimate that defies the freezing temperature outside. You can feel that warmth pooling around your chest and shoulders, a stark and comforting contrast to the biting wind that buffets your back. This is your shelter, your portable home. No matter how fierce the gale becomes, inside the heavy folds of the pennula, you remain untouched, a warm ember in the heart of a cold night. You look down at your hands. They're resting on the smooth-worn wood of the railing. You're wearing thick woolen tunics, layered one over the other, and your arms are covered, but your hands are exposed for a moment. You can see the pale skin in the starlight, roughened by work and weather. You rub them together slowly, palm against palm, creating a friction that generates a spark of heat. The sound of your dry skin rubbing together is soft, a whispering rasp that is lost to the wind, but you can hear it. It is a human sound in a landscape that feels entirely elemental. To your left, just a few feet away, sits the iron brazier. It is your companion for the night watch, a sturdy metal basket elevated on legs filled with glowing charcoal. The coals are burning low now, settling into a deep pulsing orange glow, covered here and there with a fine layer of grey ash. Every now and then a gust of wind catches the brazier, causing the coals to brighten suddenly, illuminating the stone floor with a warm, flickering amber light. You take a step closer to it, extending your hands over the heat. The warmth is immediate. It rises up in invisible waves, thawing your stiff fingers, seeping into your palms and travelling up your wrists. It is a primitive, deeply satisfying comfort. You can smell the smoke, a woodsy, earthy aroma of burning oak and peat that mingles with the crisp scent of the frost. It's a smell that reminds you of the barracks, of cooking fires, of safety. You watch the embers shift and settle, a tiny landslide of glowing sparks that drift upward and die out in the cold air. There is something hypnotic about the fire. It breathes, just like you. It lives and consumes and gives warmth, demanding nothing in return but a little fuel and a little attention. You turn your back to the wind for a moment, letting the heat from the brazier soak into the front of your tunic. You close your eyes. For a few seconds, if you concentrate on the warmth on your face and the smell of the smoke, you could be anywhere. You could be back in Gaul, sitting outside a tavern on a cool autumn evening. You could be in a camp in warm Hispania. But then you open your eyes, and the grey stone of the wall brings you back. You are here, on the edge, and surprisingly you don't mind. There is a simplicity to this life, to this specific moment, that is almost meditative. Your equipment is heavy, but you have grown used to the weight. It feels like a part of you now. Beneath your cloak you're wearing the lorica segmentata, the famous segmented plate armour of the legions. The iron strips are curved to fit your torso, overlapping like the shell of a lobster or an armadillo. When you move even slightly, the metal plates shift against each other, creating a soft, rhythmic clinking sound. Clink, clink. It is a sound of discipline. The leather straps that hold the armour together creak softly with your breathing. The weight of the iron on your shoulders is significant, a constant downward pressure, but it is a grounding weight. It makes you feel solid, immovable. If an enemy were to run into you, they would bounce off. You are an iron wall standing atop a stone wall. You decide to walk a little, just to keep the blood flowing in your legs. You turn and begin to pace along the rampart. Your path is a straight line, 12 paces to the east, 12 paces back to the west. The walkway is paved with flagstones, cut and laid with precise Roman engineering. They are flat and even, allowing you to walk without looking down. Listen to the sound of your walking. You are wearing caligae, the military sandals. The soles are thick, built from several layers of tough cowhide stacked and stitched together, and studded with iron hobnails. These nails are designed to grip the earth, to prevent slipping in the mud or on wet grass. But here on the stone rampart, they act like percussion instruments. Crunch, crunch, crunch. The iron nails bite into the stone with each step. It is a gritty, solid sound. It echoes slightly in the corridor of the night. It is the sound of authority. Every step you take affirms your presence here. You are walking the line, keeping the rhythm of the empire. The leather straps of the sandals are laced up your shins, hugging your calves tightly. Beneath the sandals you are wearing udones, thick socks made of felted wool. Without them, the iron studs would freeze your feet, but with them, your feet remain surprisingly comfortable. You can feel the texture of the wool sock rubbing gently against your skin with each stride. The sensation is dry and warm. You reach the end of your 12 paces and turn around. The wind hits your face from a different angle now, pushing the hood of your cloak back slightly. You reach up and pull it forward again, creating that tunnel of vision that allows you to focus only on what is directly in front of you. You look out over the parapet, into the north. The land beyond the wall drops away into darkness. In the daylight, you know this landscape is a rolling expanse of brown hills, scrubby forests and small rushing streams. But tonight it is just a void, a sea of black shadows. Somewhere out there are villages. There are people huddled around their own fires, telling him stories in a language you barely understand. There are deer sleeping in the bracken. There are owls hunting on silent wings. But from where you stand, there is only the vast, silent nothingness. It is peaceful in a way. The emptiness demands nothing of you. It does not ask for taxes or reports or conversation. It just exists. And you exist alongside it, a silent observer. You lean your elbows on the rough stonework of the crenellation. The stone is freezing to the touch, sucking the heat from the wool of your sleeves, but the cold doesn't penetrate through to your skin. You watch a cloud drift slowly across the sky, obscuring a cluster of stars before moving on, revealing them again. The movement is slow, glacial. Time seems to stretch out here. A single minute can feel like an hour, but not in a way that causes anxiety. It is more like the world has slowed down to match the beating of your heart. You think about the thousands of other men standing on this same wall tonight, stretching out for miles to your left and to your right, across the neck of this island. There are other sentries standing by other braziers. They are wrapped in the same red cloaks. They are listening to the same wind. They are watching the same stars. You are alone in your section of the wall, and yet you are part of a massive, interconnected chain. If you were to shout, the man in the next turret might hear you on the wind. If you were to light a signal torch, the flame would be seen for miles. This connection is invisible, but you can feel it. It is the camaraderie of the watch. You are all awake together while the rest of the world sleeps. Behind you, down in the valley, lies the fort. It is a square block of shadow against the darker ground. Inside those walls, hundreds of your brothers are asleep. You can imagine the scene in the barracks right now. The long, low rooms filled with the sound of snoring, the smell of straw mattresses and unwashed bodies, the warmth of body heat packed into a small space. They are sleeping deeply, exhausted from a day of drilling, repairing roads or cleaning equipment. They are safe because you are here. They can dream of home, of vineyards and olive groves, because you are standing in the cold, eyes open and watching the dark. There is a profound sense of purpose in that. You are the shield. You are the gatekeeper. You turn back to the brazier. The coals have settled again, and the glow has dimmed slightly. It is time to feed the fire. You reach down to a small pile of fuel stacked neatly against the wall, dried peat and hunks of charcoal. You pick up a piece of peat. It is light, fibrous, and dry as dust. You toss it onto the glowing bed of coals. For a moment, nothing happens. Then a small curl of white smoke rises, twisting like a snake. The peat begins to darken, then glow red at the edges. Suddenly, a small yellow flame licks upward, consuming the fuel. The light flares up again, pushing back the shadows that had started to creep in closer. The warmth intensifies. You smile slightly. It is a small victory against the winter night. You have created light. You have created heat. You resume your position, back against the stone, eyes scanning the horizon. Your mind begins to wander, drifting like the soak. You think about the letter you received 2 weeks ago from your sister. She is married now, living in a town near modern-day Lyon in Gaul. She wrote about the harvest, about how the price of wine has gone up, about her new son who is learning to walk. The images in your head are sun-drenched and golden, a sharp contrast to the blue-grey world you inhabit now. You try to remember the smell of sun-baked earth and rosemary. It feels like a memory from another life, a story told by someone else. But instead of making you sad, the memory warms you. It reminds you that there is a world of warmth and colour waiting for you when your service is done. For now, the wall is your world. A light snow begins to fall. It starts as just a few stray flakes drifting down lazily from the darkness. You wouldn't even know it was snowing if you didn't see them catching the light of the fire. Tiny, perfect specks of white dancing in the amber glow. One lands on your sleeve and sits there for a moment, a perfect crystal star, before melting into a tiny droplet of water that glistens like a jewel. Then another lands on the back of your hand. It feels like a cold kiss. The snow falls silently. It adds a layer of hush to the world. The wind seems to drop as if respecting the falling snow. The landscape beyond the wall begins to soften, the sharp edges of the rocks blurring as they are dusted with white. You pull your hood further forward, until it overhangs your forehead like a roof. You watch the flakes spiral down past your face. It is beautiful. It is relentlessly, quietly beautiful. Are you tired? Yes. Your eyelids feel heavy, as if tiny weights are attached to your lashes. The rhythmic sound of your own breathing is a lullaby. The warmth of the cloak is a blanket. But you do not sleep. You hover in that delicious twilight state between wakefulness and dreams. You are aware of everything, the snow, the fire, the stone, but you are detached from it. You are simply a consciousness floating in the night. You check your equipment again, a habit born of years of training. Your hand drops to your side to touch the hilt of your gladius, the short sword hanging at your right hip. The handle is made of bone, polished smooth by years of use. It feels cool and hard under your fingers. You don't grip it in readiness, you just graze it, acknowledging it is there. On your left side hangs the pugio, the dagger, and leaning against the wall nearby is your scutum, the tall rectangular shield. It is wrapped in a leather cover to protect the wood from the damp. It stands there like a silent sentry of its own, painted with the lightning bolts of the Legion. These are your tools, your extensions. They are heavy, lethal things, but tonight they are just dead weight, resting just as you are resting. The silence is broken by the call of a nightjar bird somewhere in the distance, a strange, churring sound that rises and falls. It echoes eerily across the moorland. You turn your head slowly towards the sound. You listen. You wait. Is it a signal? Is it just a bird? You listen to the silence that follows. It is deep and unbroken, just a birdie. You let out a breath you didn't know you were holding, a long plume of white mist that joins the falling snow. Your legs are starting to feel the cold seeping up from the stones, despite the thick socks. It is a dull ache in your knees and ankles. It is time to move again. You push yourself off the wall and begin your slow pace. 12 steps east, crunch, crunch, crunch. The snow muffles the sound of your hobnails slightly now, making your movement stealthier, softer. You turn 12 steps west. You are a pendulum swinging in the dark. You are keeping time for the world. As you walk, you let your mind focus on the sensation of the wool tunic against your skin. It is slightly itchy around the collar, but you welcome it. It anchors you. You feel the belt cinched tight around your waist, the balteus, heavy with metal fittings that jingle softly like tiny bells. Every sensation is distinct. The cold tip of your nose, the warmth of your chest, the numbness of your toes, the ache in your lower back. You catalogue these feelings without judgment. They are just proof that you are alive, here, standing guard at the end of the earth. You return to the brazier. The new fuel is caught fully now and the fire is burning hot and bright. You turn around and present your back to the heat. You can feel the warmth penetrating through the thick layers of your cloak, soaking into your side and relaxing the muscles that are tensed up against the chill. It feels wonderful. It is a luxury that feels more valuable than gold in this moment. A simple fire in an iron basket. You look up at the stone archway of the turret door. It is dark inside. A small shelter where your partner is sleeping, waiting to relieve you in a few hours. You won't wake him yet. You will let him sleep. You can take the watch a little longer. The night is yours. And so you stand, a solitary figure in a red cloak, illuminated by a dying fire, surrounded by falling snow and ancient stone. You are the watcher. You are the guardian. And as the snow continues to fall, covering the world in a blanket of silence, you find your own peace in the solitude of the long, cold night. Time has lost its meaning. You're not sure how long you have been standing there, staring into the swirling white void of the snowfall. It might have been an hour or perhaps only a few minutes. The rhythm of the night has taken over, a slow, deep pulse that seems to match the throbbing of the cold in the stone beneath your feet. The snow is falling harder now, thickening the air, turning the world into a soft, blurred landscape of greys and whites. The wind has died down almost completely, leaving behind a silence so profound that it feels heavy, pressing against your ears like water. You reach for the leather flask hanging from your belt. Your fingers are clumsy with the cold, fumbling slightly with the wooden stopper, but the movement is familiar, ingrained by repetition. You pull the stopper free with a soft pop and lift the flask to your lips. The liquid inside is posca, a mixture of water and vinegar, perhaps with a pinch of salt and dried herbs. It is the drink of the army, simple and sustaining. As the liquid hits your tongue, the sharp, sour taste of the vinegar shocks your senses awake for a brief second. It is cold, incredibly cold, sliding down your throat like liquid ice. But as it settles in your stomach, it seems to radiate a strange, acidic warmth. It cuts through the thirst you hadn't realised you were feeling. You take another sip, savouring the harshness of it, letting the flavour linger in your mouth before swallowing. It tastes of discipline. It tastes of the legions. You cork the flask and let it drop back against your hip. The weight of it knocks gently against your thigh. You shift your position again, leaning your other shoulder against the rough stonework of the archway. The stone is damp now, slick with melted snow, but your wool cloak absorbs the moisture, keeping it away from your skin. You are a creature of wool and leather and iron, a self-contained unit of survival in a hostile environment. Your attention drifts to your helmet, the galea. You took it off a while ago to let your head breathe, placing it carefully on the dry stone ledge inside the turret alcove. You pick it up now just to hold it. It is made of iron, heavy and solid in your hands. The metal is freezing, sucking the heat from your fingertips instantly. You run your thumb over the brow guard, feeling the smooth, cold curve of the reinforced ridge designed to deflect sword blows. You trace the shape of the cheek guards, which hang loose on their hinges, swinging slightly with a faint metallic squeak. Inside, the helmet is lined with worn leather and padding, still retaining the faint ghostly scent of your own hair and sweat. It is a personal object moulded to the shape of your skull, the one thing standing between you and a barbarian's axe. But tonight it is just a piece of sculpture, cold and silent in your hands. You place it back on the ledge with a reverence that borders on ritual. Clunk. The sound is dull and final. You look back out at the snow. It is accumulating on the ground now, covering the stone walkway in a pristine white carpet. Your footprints from your earlier pacing are already being filled in, their edges softening until they are just shallow depressions in the powder. It is as if the world is trying to erase you, to wipe away the evidence of your presence. There is something comforting in that thought, the idea that nature is reclaiming this space, covering the hard lines of the Roman engineering with a blanket of softness. A sudden sound makes you stiffen. It is faint, drifting up from the valley floor far below the wall. A howl, long, mournful, and wild. A wolf that rises in pitch, trembling in the air before fading away into the silence. You wait for a response, straining your ears against the quiet. A few seconds pass, then another howl answers from further away, deeper in the northern darkness. It is fainter, a ghost of a sound. You let out a breath. Just wolves. They are hunting in the dark, running through the snow-covered heather, living their lives in the savage wilderness that you are tasked to watch. They are free in a way you are not, but they are also cold and hungry. You are standing by a fire. You have posca and bread. You prefer your post. You decide to tend the fire again. It is the only clock you have. When the coals burn low, time has passed. When you add fuel, a new hour begins. You pick up a long iron poker and stir the embers. The grey ash falls away, revealing the intense, pulsating red heart of the fire. It looks like molten gold, like the sunset over the Tiber River, trapped in a cage of iron. You add a few more lumps of charcoal, placing them precisely, building a small pyramid of fuel. You watch as the black surfaces begin to crackle and glow, the heat intensity building on your shins. The heat makes you drowsy. The hypnagogic state, that borderland between wakefulness and sleep, begins to creep over you. Your eyes are open, but your vision blurs slightly, focusing on nothing in particular. Your mind begins to unspool, releasing the tight knots of alertness. You start to notice the microscopic details of the stone wall next to your face. You see the tiny specks of mica embedded in the granite, glinting like diamonds in the firelight. You see a small patch of green moss growing in a crevice, frozen solid, a tiny island of life clinging to the rock. You trace the lines of the chisel marks left by the stonemasons years ago. Someone's hand held a hammer and chisel and struck this rock, again and again, carving it into this shape. That person is gone now, perhaps back in Rome, perhaps dead, but their work remains, holding you up, protecting you from the wind. You feel a strange kinship with that unknown mason. You are both servants of the stone. Your thoughts drift to the morning. It seems impossibly far away, but you know it will come. You imagine the scene in the mess tent. The smell of pulse, the grain porridge that is the staple of your diet. It will be hot, thick, and bland, perhaps flavoured with a little bacon fat or honey if the supply wagons have arrived. You can almost taste the grainy texture of the spelt wheat, the way it sticks to the roof of your mouth, the way the warmth spreads through your chest. You imagine the noise of your comrades, the clattering of wooden spoons on bowls, the low murmur of morning voices, the steam rising from the cauldrons. The anticipation of that simple meal is a powerful thing. It anchors you to the future. It promises that this cold, dark night will have an end, but for now, the hunger is just a dull, hollow feeling in your stomach. Not painful, just present. A reminder of your humanity. You tighten your belt by one notch, a soldier's trick to silence the hunger pangs. The leather creaks as you pull it tight, the metal buckle digging slightly into your tunic. The pressure is grounding. You lean forward and arrest your forearms on the freezing parapet, ignoring the cold that seeps through your sleeves. You look down at the ground immediately below the wall. It is a 20-foot drop into the ditch, the fosse, that runs parallel to the wall. The ditch is filling with snow, becoming a smooth white trench. If anyone were down there, creeping towards the wall, they would leave a trail as clear as ink on parchment. But there is no one. The land is empty. The tribes of the north are sheltering in their roundhouses, huddled under firs, just as you are huddling in your cloak. Tonight, the weather has declared a truce. The snow has enforced a peace that no treaty could ever achieve. You start to hum a tune very softly, barely a whisper. It is an old song, something you heard in a tavern in Londinium months ago. The melody is simple, repetitive, a little sad. You don't remember the words, just the rise and fall of the notes. The vibration of the humming resonates in your chest, a tiny internal warmth. It feels good to make a sound, to prove that you can still affect the world, even if it is just by disturbing the silence for a few seconds. The sound is swallowed instantly by the snow, but for a moment it was there. Your legs are tired. The muscles in your calves are tight, knotting up from standing still on the hard stone. You begin to do a series of small stretches, rising up on your toes and lowering yourself back down. Up, down, up, down. You feel the calf muscles stretch and contract. You roll your shoulders, hearing the crick and pop of your joints and the answering clink and squeak of your armour. Your body is a machine, a collection of levers and pulleys and pistons, and you must keep it maintained. You rotate your neck, feeling the tension release at the base of your skull. It feels incredibly good. A sweet, sharp release of pressure. You turn your gaze upward again. The clouds have shifted, opening a small window to the heavens. The moon has appeared. It is a crescent moon, sharp and thin like a sickle, hanging low in the western sky. It casts pale silver light over the world, transforming the snow-covered landscape into a sea of glittering phosphorescence. The wall stretches out away from you, a silver snake winding over the black hills. You can see the silhouette of the next turret, a mile away, a small block of black against the stars. You wonder if the sentry there is looking at the moon too. You raise your hand in a small wave, knowing he cannot see you, but doing it anyway. It is a gesture of solidarity across the void. The cold is insidious now. It has found the gaps in your defences. The tip of your nose is numb, feeling like a piece of wood attached to your face. Your toes are tingling with a dull, prickly sensation. You stamp your feet again. Thump, thump, thump! The vibration travels up your legs. You pull your arms inside your cloak, hugging them against your chest, tucking your hands into your armpits to steal a little warmth. You shrink down inside the wool, becoming a turtle in its shell. You close your eyes for a count of 10. 1, 2, 3. The darkness behind your eyelids is warm and velvety. 4, 5. You sway slightly on your feet. 6, 7. The sound of the wind is a lullaby. 8, 9, 10. You open your eyes. The world is still there, the snow is still falling, but you feel slightly refreshed, as if that 10-second rest was a mini-sleep. You look at the pilum leaning against the wall next to you, your heavy javelin. The wooden shaft is polished smooth by years of handling. The long, thin iron shank ends in a pyramidal point that can punch through a shield or armour. It is a weapon of war, designed for killing, but right now, resting against the stone, it looks like a harmless tool, like a walking stick or a shepherd's crook. Snow has gathered on the iron tip, capping it with a harmless white thimble. You reach out and brush the snow away with a gloved finger. The iron is wet and black underneath. You leave your hand on the wood of the shaft. It feels organic, warmer than the stone or the iron. It was once a tree growing in a forest somewhere in Gaul or Italy. It has a memory of the sun. Holding it makes you feel less alone. The silence deepens. It is the hour of the wolf, the darkest part of the night before the first hint of dawn. The world feels suspended, held in a breath. You are the only thing that moves. You and the falling snow. You watch a single flake drift down and land on the charcoal in the brazier. It hisses, a tiny sharp sound, and vanishes instantly into steam. It is a reminder of the fragility of things. One moment a perfect crystal, the next nothing. But you are not fragile. You are Rome. You are the wall. You will endure the night. You lean back against the stone, the hardness of it pressing into your shoulder blades through the armour. You let your gaze unfocus again, staring into the middle distance where the white snow meets the black skies. The contrast is soft, blurry. Your breathing slows down, becoming deep and rhythmic, matching the slow pulse of the dying fire. You're safe. You're warm enough. You are watching. And the night stretches on, peaceful and endless. The snow has stopped falling. You didn't notice exactly when it ceased. One moment the air was filled with swirling white flakes, and the next, the world was still. The clouds overhead have begun to break apart, drifting away to the south like a retreating army, leaving behind a sky that is no longer pitch black but a deep bruised indigo. It is the colour of the deepest ocean, cold and unfathomable. The silence that follows the snow is different now. It is sharper, brittle, like a sheet of thin ice that might snap at any moment. The air has cleared, and with that clarity comes a drop in temperature. This is the coldest hour of the night, the hour before the dawn, when the frost bites hardest and the resolve of even the most seasoned legionnaire is tested. You pull your cloak tighter, if such a thing is even possible. You have become a statue of wool and iron. You can feel the cold radiating off the stone wall against your back, trying to seep into your kidneys, but your layers hold firm. You wiggle your toes inside your boots. They are numb, distant things, but they still obey your command. You flex your fingers inside your sleeves, making a fist, then releasing it. The movement is slow, stiff. Your body has entered a state of conservation, burning its fuel slowly, keeping the core warm while letting the extremities fend for themselves. It is a biological truce with the winter. You look down at the brazier. The fire has burned down to a bed of glowing red embers, pulsed with veins of grey ash. There are no flames left, just a steady radiant heat that is slowly fading. It looks like a dying star in an iron cage. You pick up the poker and gently prod the coals, trying to coax a little more life out of them. A few sparks rise up, weak and fleeting, swirling in the cold air before vanishing. You decide not to add more fuel. The night is almost over. This heat will last until the relief guard comes. It is enough. You lean your hands over the embers, capturing the last of the intense warmth, feeling it penetrate the calluses on your palms. It is a bittersweet sensation, the knowledge that the warmth is ending just as your watch is ending. Below you in the valley, the fort is still a block of shadow, but the quality of the darkness there has changed. It feels less heavy. You can imagine the stirrings of life beginning within those walls. Somewhere down there, in the bakery, the first fires are being lit. You can almost smell it, or perhaps you're just dreaming it. The scent of wood smoke shifting from the acrid smell of heating fires to the sweeter, yeastier smell of baking bread. The panis militaris, the soldier's bread. Soon the heavy millstones will begin to turn, grinding the grain for the day's ration. The thought of fresh, hot bread is a physical ache in your jaw. It is a promise that life continues, that the sun will rise, that you will eat and rest. You turn your face to the east. The horizon is still dark, but there is a suggestion of change, a faint dilution of the blackness. It is the false dawn, a trick of the light where the sky lightens imperceptibly, before darkening again one last time. You watch it with the patience of a stone. You have seen this 100 times. It is your private theatre. While the generals and the senators sleep in their silk sheets, you are here to witness the birth of the day. It feels like a secret privilege. You are the first to know that the night has been defeated. A sound breaks the stillness. It is not the wind, nor a wolf. It is a metallic sound, clink, crunch, clink. It is distant, coming from the walkway to your right. Footsteps. Rhythmic, heavy, iron-shod footsteps. Your heart gives a single slow thump of recognition. It is the relief. You don't turn immediately, Lee. You savour the sound. It is the most beautiful sound in the world right now. It means rest. It means warmth. It means you have done your duty. You straighten your back, pushing yourself off the wall. You roll your shoulders, breaking the crust of stiffness that has settled over you. You adjust your belt, checking the hang of your sword. You reach for your helmet on the ledge, picking it up. It is freezing cold, covered in a fine layer of rime frost that sparkles in the fading light of the brazier. You brush the frost off with your sleeve and place the helmet on your head. The lining is cold against your temples, but it quickly warms up. You fasten the cheek guards. You're a soldier again, not just a man wrapped in a blanket. The footsteps get closer. You can see a shape emerging from the gloom, a dark, bulky silhouette moving steadily along the white line of the wall. It is another legionnaire, wrapped in a cloak identical to yours. He carries a spear over his shoulder, and a wooden shield hangs from his back. He walks with the heavy, plodding gait of a man who has just woken up and walked out into the freezing cold. He stops a few paces away. You can see his breath pluming in the air, a cloud of white steam that momentarily obscures his face. "Jupiter, protect us," he grumbles, his voice rough with sleep. "It's cold enough to freeze the tail off a brass wolf." You smile. It is a familiar complaint. "It's warmed up a bit," you lie, your voice sounding strange and rusty to your own ears after hours of silence. "The snow has stopped." "Small mercies," he mutters. He walks past you to the brazier, extending his hands over the dying coals. "You left me some heat at least. I appreciate that." "I treat you too well, Marcus," you say softly. "That you do." He turns to look at you. "Go on, get down there." The centurion is already yelling about something or other. "The porridge is watery, but it's hot." You nod. There is no need for a formal salute here. Not in the dark, not between friends. You pick up your pilum and your shield. The shield feels heavier than it did when you came up here. Your muscles are protesting, tired and depleted. You walk past him, clapping a hand on his shoulder as you pass. The wool of his cloak is cold and damp. "Watch the ice on the stairs," you say. "Aye, sleep well." You walk away from the turret, heading towards the stairs that lead down into the fort. You don't look back. The wall is his burden now. You have passed the weight of the empire onto his shoulders. You feel lighter with every step. The stairs are steep and narrow, cut into the stone of the wall itself. They are treacherous with packed snow and patches of ice, just as you warned. You take them slowly, placing your feet sideways to get a better grip. Crunch on slip, steady crunch. You hold onto the frozen wooden rail with your free hand. The descent is a transition. You are leaving the world of the sky and the wind, and descending back into the world of men and mud. When your boots hit the ground at the bottom of the stairs, the feeling is different. The earth here is packed dirt and gravel, softer than the stone ramparts. The wind is blocked by the high walls of the fort. It is quieter down here, more sheltered. You're inside the belly of the beast now. You walk down the Via Sagillaris, the perimeter road that runs along the inside of the walls. To your right are the ramparts, looming high and dark. To your left are the rows of barracks blocks, long, low buildings made of stone and timber with red-tiled roofs. They look like sleeping giants. You can hear sounds coming from inside them now. The deep, guttural coughing of men waking up, the thud of boots dropping onto wooden floors, the low murmur of voices. The fort is waking up. You pass the stables. The smell hits you. Pungent, earthy and incredibly warm. It is the smell of horses, hay and manure. To a civilian, it might be offensive. To you, it smells like life. You can hear the horses shifting in their stalls, the soft whicker of a mare calling out, the heavy stamp of a hoof. You imagine the warmth in there, the bodies of the animals heating the air. It is a comforting thought. You turn down the central street, the Via Praetoria. The snow here has been trampled into a slushy grey paste by the hobnails of the early patrols. Your boots squelch slightly. You are heading for your own barracks block, Century 8. You know the way by heart. You could walk it blindfolded. You count the doors. 1, 2, 3, here. You push open the heavy wooden door. It creaks on iron hinges, a sound that says home. You step inside and close it quickly behind you to keep the cold out. The warmth hits you like a physical blow. It is thick, humid, and smells of wood smoke, old sweat, drying leather, and toasted grain. After the pristine, razor-sharp air of the wall, this air feels heavy and rich. It is the air of humanity. The room is dimly lit by a single oil lamp hanging from a chain in the centre of the ceiling. The flame is small, casting long, dancing shadows against the plastered walls. The room is divided into two sections. The front area is for equipment storage. You lean your heavy shield against the wall next to the others. You place your spear in the rack. You unbuckle your sword belt, the cingulum. The leather is stiff with cold. You struggle with the buckle for a moment, your fingers clumsy until it finally gives way. You unwind the belt from your waist and hang it on a peg. The weight leaving your hips makes you feel like you are floating. You walk into the inner room, the sleeping quarters. It is crowded. 8 bunks are crammed into this small space, 4 on each side. Most of your messmates are still asleep, buried under piles of grey blankets. One man is sitting on the edge of his bunk, rubbing his face with his hands. He looks up at you, eyes bleary. He nods silently, then goes back to staring at the floor. You understand, morning is a difficult country to enter. You move to your own bunk. It is a simple wooden frame with a mattress stuffed with straw. To anyone else, it might look like a torture device. To you, right now, it looks like a cloud plucked from the heavens. You sit down heavily on the edge of the mattress. The straw crunches softly under your weight. Now comes the best part, the unburdening. You reach up and unfasten the chin strap of your helmet. You pull it off your head. Your hair is matted and flattened against your skull, damp with sweat despite the cold. You run your fingers through it, scratching your scalp. It feels ecstatic. The blood rushes back into your skin. You set the helmet down on the floor. Next, the cloak. You unpin the bronze brooch, the fibula, at your shoulder. The heavy wool falls away from you, sliding down your back. You catch it and fold it roughly. Without it, you feel suddenly exposed, smaller, but also freer. Then the armour. This requires a bit of effort. You undo the leather ties at the front of the lorica segmentata. The iron plates spring apart slightly, releasing the pressure on your chest. You shrug your shoulders, wiggling out of the heavy metal shell. You lift it over your head, grunting with the effort, and set it down. Clank. The sound is muffled by the straw on the floor. Your tunic underneath is damp, but you don't care. You're out of the shell. Your body feels light, airy, almost insubstantial. You lean forward and begin to unlace your boots. The leather laces are wet and swollen, difficult to untie. You pick at them patiently. There is no rush anymore. The watch is over. Finally, you loosen them. You pull your feet out. The wool socks are warm and damp. You wiggle your toes. They are tingling as the circulation returns fully. You don't bother taking off your tunic. It is warm enough in here. You swing your legs up onto the mattress. You pull the rough woolen blanket up over your chest, then up to your chin. The blanket smells of the same things the room smells of, men and smoke, but it is dry. You lie on your back, staring up at the dark timber beams of the ceiling. You can hear the wind outside still prowling around the corners of the building, trying to get in, but it can't reach you here. You're behind stone walls, inside a wooden room under a wool blanket. You're safe. Your body begins to sink into the straw mattress. Every muscle, every tendon that has been held tight for the last 4 hours begins to let go. You feel a wave of relaxation start at your feet and wash up over you like a warm tide. Your eyelids are heavy, so heavy. You try to keep them open for a moment longer, watching the flicker of the oil lamp, but it is a losing battle. The sounds of the room, the breathing of the other men, the creak of timber, the distant clatter of the fort begin to blur together into a soothing white noise. Your thoughts become fragmented. You think of the snow falling on the brazier. You think of the moon. You think of the hot bread. And then you don't think at all. The darkness comes for you, but this time it is not the cold, lonely darkness of the north. It is the warm, velvet darkness of sleep. It wraps around you, soft and welcoming. You drift away, floating on the river of dreams, safe in the heart of the Legion, safe on the edge of the world. You wake slowly, not to the sound of a trumpet or a shouting centurion, but to the gentle touch of light across your face. It is a soft, filtered light, the kind that pushes its way through the oiled parchment of the small window high up on the wall. Dust motes dance in the shaft of light, swirling in slow, lazy spirals. You lie there for a moment, suspended in that delicious state of half-sleep, feeling the roughness of the wool blanket against your chin and the warmth of the straw mattress beneath your back. Your body feels heavy, sinking into the bed, anchored by a pleasant lethargy. The deep, bone-chilling cold of the wall seems like a distant memory, something that happened to someone else in a different life. Here, under the covers, the world is warm and still. You stretch your legs, pushing your feet down to the end of the bunk. Your muscles are stiff, reminding you of the long hours standing on stone. But it is a good stiffness, the honest ache of work done. You're off duty now. The day belongs to you. The realization washes over you like a wave of contentment. No drills, no patrols, no repairs, just the slow passage of hours until the sun goes down again. You sit up slowly, swinging your legs over the side of the bed. The barracks room is mostly empty. The other men of your contubernium are gone, likely out on work detail or patrolling the roads. The silence in the room is thick and comfortable. You stand up, feeling the cool wooden floorboards under your bare feet. You reach for a fresh tunic, one made of lighter, softer wool dyed a pale undyed beige. It feels loose and airy after the heavy, constricted layers of the night watch. You pull it over your head, enjoying the freedom of movement. You tie a simple rope belt around your waist. Loose, not tight. Today is about comfort. You slip your feet into a pair of simple leather shoes, Carbatini. They are soft, like slippers, made from a single piece of leather that wraps around the foot. No heavy hobnails today, no iron grinding against stone. You step softly, almost silently, towards the heavy wooden door. Pushing the door open, you step out into the daylight. The contrast is blinding. You squint against the brightness. The sun has climbed high into the sky, burning off the grey clouds of the night. The snow that fell during your watch is still there, carpeting the roofs and the tops of the walls, but down here in the muddy streets of the fort, it is beginning to melt. Water drips from the eaves of the barracks. Drip, drip, drip. A rhythmic, peaceful percussion that measures out the morning. The air is still cold, crisp and clean, but the sun on your face carries a genuine warmth. You close your eyes and turn your face up to it, soaking in the heat like a lizard on a rock. You can feel your skin thawing, the tension melting away from your forehead and jaw. You begin to walk down the main street. The fort is alive, but it is a background hum, not a roar. You see a blacksmith working by an open forge, the rhythmic clang of his hammer ringing out. But he is far away, and the sound is softened by the distance. You see soldiers marching in a drill square, but you are not one of them. You're a ghost, drifting through the routine of the camp, unattached and unhurried. A smell catches your attention, stopping you in your tracks. It is the most primal, comforting scent in human history. Baking bread. Your stomach gives a low rumble of approval. You change direction, following your nose towards the military bakery. The scent grows stronger with every step, yeasty, toasted, warm and rich. It hangs in the cold air, a visible invitation. You arrive at the bakery, a low stone building with smoke curling lazily from its chimney. Inside, the heat is intense, a wall of warmth that smells of flour and fire. The baker, a burly man with flour dusting his hairy arms, nods at you. He knows what you want. He reaches into a basket and hands you a loaf of panis militaris. It is round, scored into 8 sections, heavy and dense, but most importantly it is hot. It has just come out of the clay oven. You take the bread. It is almost too hot to hold. You have to juggle it slightly from hand to hand, feeling the heat radiate into your palms, warming your fingers instantly. You step back outside into the cool air, clutching the prize against your chest. You tear off a chunk. The crust cracks with a satisfying crunch, releasing a puff of steam from the soft, fluffy interior. You put a piece in your mouth. It tastes of smoke and earth and salt. It is simple, unpretentious, and utterly perfect. You chew slowly, savouring the texture, letting the warmth travel down your throat. You are eating the sun, stored in the grain, released by the fire. With your hunger subsiding, you continue your walk. Your destination is the large building complex near the centre of the fort, the Thermae, the bathhouse. This is the heart of Roman civilization, transplanted here to the edge of the wild. Even here, thousands of miles from Rome, you will have your bath. You push through the double doors of the bathhouse. The air inside changes instantly. It is humid, thick, and smells of wood smoke, olive oil, and herbs. The noise of the outside world is cut off, replaced by the echoing sounds of water splashing and low, murmuring voices bouncing off the stone walls. You enter the apoditerium, the changing room. It is a quiet space lined with wooden benches and shelves cubbies. You sit down on a bench. The wood is smooth, polished by thousands of soldiers sitting in this exact spot over the years. You begin to undress, folding your tunic carefully. You leave your shoes under the bench. You are shedding the last layers of your identity as a soldier. Here, everyone is just skin and bone and muscle. You wrap a linen towel around your waist and move towards the first room, the tepidarium, the warm room. You push aside the heavy leather curtain and step inside. The floor is warm under your feet. This is the magic of Roman engineering, the hypercaust system. Hot air from a furnace circulates under the floor raised on pillars, heating the tiles from below. You can feel the heat seeping up through the soles of your feet, travelling up your legs. It is a gentle, pervasive warmth that seems to rise from the earth itself. The room is filled with a soft, hazy steam. You find a spot on a marble bench along the wall and sit down. The marble is warm, heated by the air. You lean your head back against the wall and close your eyes. You're not washing yet. You're just acclimating. You're letting your body understand that it is safe to relax. Listen to the sounds of the room. Drip. Splash. Somewhere a tap is dripping into a basin. The low conversation of two men in the corner, discussing the price of wine or a letter from home. Their voices are soft, respectful of the peace. The air is thick and moist, coating your skin in a fine layer of condensation. You take a deep breath, the humidity opens your lungs. You can smell eucalyptus and lavender, oils that someone has used nearby. You sit there for a long time, doing absolutely nothing. Your mind is blank, white and empty like the steam. You're not thinking about the Picts over the wall, you're not thinking about the Emperor. You are just a body absorbing heat. You feel a bead of sweat form on your forehead and trickle slowly down your temple. It is a slow, ticklish sensation. You let it fall, you're melting. The tension that has been frozen into your shoulders for days is finally beginning to dissolve. You look at the mosaic on the floor in front of you. Tiny coloured stones, red, white, black, arranged in geometric patterns. Spirals and squares interlocking endlessly. You trace the lines with your eyes, following the pattern round and round. It is hypnotic, round and round. There is no beginning and no end, just the pattern, just the steam, just the warmth. You are preparing yourself for the next room, the caldarium, the hot room, but there is no rush. There is never any rush here. You can stay on this warm bench for an hour if you want. You have nowhere to be. The wall is standing, the empire is safe, and you are warm. You rise slowly from the bench in the tepidarium. Your body has accepted the warmth. Your skin feels loose and pliable, but you know this is just the prelude. You crave the deep penetrating heat that can scour the last memory of the winter wind from your bones. You walk towards the heavy oak door at the far end of the room. Steam is already escaping from the cracks around the frame, whispering promises of a tropical escape. You reach out and push the door open. It swings inward with a heavy wet groan of swollen wood. You step into the caldarium. The heat hits you like a physical wall. It is heavy, thick, and suffocating in the most wonderful way imaginable. It wraps around you instantly, a hot, wet blanket that smells of sulphur and stone. The air here is opaque, filled with billowing white clouds of steam that drift and swirl in the currents of heat. You can barely see the other side of the room. The figures of other men are just ghostly shadows moving in the mist, soft and indistinct. The world has shrunk down to just you and the immediate space around you. You can feel the sweat springing up on your skin instantly, mingling with the condensation. It runs down your chest, your back, your arms. It feels like a release. You are sweating out the toxins of the camp, the fear of the dark, the stiffness of the cold. You are being purified by water and fire. You make your way to the edge of the large communal pool, the alveus. The water is dark and still, shimmering slightly under the light of the oil lamps that struggle to pierce the fog. You sit on the edge, dipping a foot in. The water is hot, bordering on too hot, but your frozen feet welcome it with a stinging pleasure. You slide in, inch by inch. The water rises up your calves, your thighs, your waist. It hugs you. It presses against your skin with a firm, fluid weight. You slide deeper until the water reaches your chin. You let out a long, shuddering breath that bubbles the surface of the water. You are weightless. The buoyancy of the water lifts you up, taking the pressure off your tired joints. Your knees, which have been locked straight for hours on the wall, float freely. Your spine decompresses. You close your eyes and tilt your head back, letting your ears submerge. The sounds of the bathhouse, the splashes, the voices, are instantly muffled, transformed into a deep underwater rumble. It is the sound of the womb, it is the sound of safety. You float there for what feels like an eternity. The heat works its magic on your muscles. You can visualize the fibers of your muscles unknotting, lengthening, smoothing out like a piece of crumpled parchment being ironed flat. The blood is rushing to your skin, turning it pink and flushed. Your heart beats a little faster, pumping warmth to every extremity. You are no longer a soldier of Rome, you are just a body suspended in hot water. After a long soak, you wade slowly to the shallow steps and climb out. Your body feels heavy again as gravity reasserts itself, but it's a good heaviness, a relaxed heaviness. You move to a stone slab bench near the wall. It is time for the ritual of the oil. You reach for the small clay flask you brought with you. You pull the stopper. A rich, golden scent fills your nose. Olive oil, imported all the way from the sun-drenched groves of Hispania or Italia. It smells of home. It smells of sunlight trapped in a bottle. You pour a generous amount into your cupped palm. The oil is thick, viscous, and amber-coloured. It warms up instantly in your hand. You begin to rub the oil into your skin. You start with your arms, using long, firm strokes. You work the oil into your biceps, your forearms, your wrists. The sensation is incredibly slippery and smooth. Your hands glide over your skin without friction. You move to your chest, your shoulders, your neck. You massage the muscles of your neck with your thumbs, finding the knots of tension left over from wearing the heavy helmet. You press into them, circling, kneading until they melt away under the oil. You are anointing yourself. You are treating your body with the respect it deserves after its service. Now you pick up the strigil. It is a curved tool made of bronze, shaped like a long, dull sickle with a handle. The metal is smooth and warm from the air of the room. This is how you clean yourself. You don't scrub with soap, you scrape. You press the curved edge of the strigil against your forearm, tilting it at a gentle angle. You pull it down the length of your arm, scrape. The bronze glides over your oiled skin, collecting the oil, the sweat and the dirt in its curve. It leaves behind a stripe of clean, glowing skin, scrape. The sound is distinct, a wet, rasping sound, rhythmic and satisfying. It is the sound of cleaning. You watch as the grey mixture of oil and dust is lifted away from your body. That dust is the dust of the wall. It is the soot from the brazier. It is the mud of the parade ground. And now it is gone. You work methodically. You scrape your chest, scrape, scrape. You scrape your thighs, scrape, scrape. The repetition is hypnotic. You focus entirely on the movement of the hand, the angle of the bronze, the trail of clean skin left behind. It is a grooming behaviour, primal and soothing, like a cat licking its fur. You're grooming away the soldier, you're revealing the man underneath. When you are finished scraping, you pick up a bowl of warm water from the basin and pour it over yourself. Splash. The water cascades down your shoulders, rinsing away the last of the oil. It runs in rivulets down your back, dripping onto the stone floor. You feel incredibly clean. Your skin is tingling, alive, breathing. You feel lighter, as if you have shed a heavy skin. You sit back on the bench, leaning against the warm stone wall. You are glistening. You are warm to the core. You look up at the ceiling of the caldarium. It is a vaulted dome obscured by the steam. Droplets of condensation form on the curved ceiling, gathering together until they become too heavy, then falling. Drip, drip. Back into the pool. You watch them fall, you count them. 1, 2, 3. Your breathing is slow and deep. The heavy, humid air makes you feel languid, slow motion. Your eyelids are drooping. You could sleep right here on this hard stone bench surrounded by the steam. It feels like a safe harbour. The harsh world of the north, the wind, the Picts, the freezing rain, seems like a nightmare you have woken up from. Here, in this room, it is always summer. You decide to stay for just a few moments longer. You close your eyes again. You listen to the sound of water being poured, the murmur of relaxed voices, the hiss of steam escaping a vent. These are the sounds of civilization. This is why you fight. This is why you stand on the wall. To preserve this. To preserve the ability to be warm, to be clean, to be safe. A deep sense of gratitude fills you. Gratitude for the oil, gratitude for the water, gratitude for the heat. You're filled up with it. Warm and golden like the oil on your skin. You drift, floating in the steam, untethered from time, perfectly content in the silence of the bath. You stand up from the hot stone bench, your movements slow and deliberate, like moving through molasses. Your body is saturated with heat, your skin flushed a deep, healthy pink. You feel loose, rubbery, almost too relaxed to walk. The steam swirls around you as you navigate your way back towards the door, leaving the womb-like atmosphere of the caldarium behind. You push the heavy door open, and the seal is broken. You step into the frigidarium, the cold room. The change is instantaneous. The air here is sharp, clear, and uncomfortably cool. There is no steam to hide the room. Everything is in high definition. The light from the high windows reflects off the cold blue mosaic tiles of the floor and the surface of the circular plunge pool in the centre. The water looks like a sheet of liquid glass, perfectly still, dark and inviting in a stark, bracing way. This is the final step of the ritual, the closing of the pores, the sealing of the heat. You walk to the edge of the pool. You can feel the cool air drying the sweat on your forehead. It sends a tiny shiver down your spine, but it is a shiver of anticipation, not dread. You know what comes next, and you know how good it will feel afterward. You don't hesitate. You take a breath, hold it, and step down into the water. Gasp! The shock is immediate. It is a jolt of pure electricity. The cold water grips your ankles, then your knees, then your waist. It feels tight, constricting, squeezing the blood away from your skin and driving it deep into your core. You dunk your body fully, just for a second, up to your neck. The breath leaves your lungs in a sharp whoosh. Your eyes snap open wide. Every nerve ending in your body stands at attention. The lethargy of the hot room is washed away, replaced by a crystalline clarity. It is bracing. It is wild. It is the feeling of being alive. You don't stay long. You count to 3, 1, 2, 3. You surge up out of the water, climbing the steps quickly. Water cascades off you, crashing back into the pool. You step onto the cold tiled floor, shivering uncontrollably now, your teeth chattering lightly. But this is part of the process. You reach out blindly for the towel you left on the rack. It is a large rectangle of coarse, unbleached linen. It is not soft like modern cotton. It is rough, textured and heavy. You wrap it around your shoulders instantly, pulling it tight, hugging yourself. Now begins the friction. You begin to rub your skin vigorously with the rough cloth. You rub your arms, your chest, your back. The coarse linen scrapes against your chilled skin, creating heat through friction. You rub harder, faster, scrub. The sensation is intense. You can feel the blood rushing back to the surface, fighting the cold. Your skin begins to tingle, to buzz with energy. The shivering stops, replaced by a deep radiating glow. You are generating your own furnace now. You dry your hair, rubbing the towel over your head until your scalp feels warm. You dry your legs. One by one, the towel absorbs the water, becoming heavy and damp, but your skin is left dry and burning with a pleasant, prickly heat. It is a feeling of invincibility. You have faced the fire, and you have faced the ice. You are tempered steel. You wrap a second, dry towel around your waist, securing it tightly. You pick up your tunic, but you don't put it on yet. You are not ready to be dressed. There is one more stage of the bathhouse ritual, the rest. You walk into the final room, a quiet lounge area known as the tepidarium. Distinct from the earlier warm room, this is a dry, warm room for resting. It is lined with long, curved wooden lounges. The room is kept at a gentle, neutral temperature. Not hot, not cold, just perfectly comfortable. It is quiet here. Most of the men are either in the pools or outside. This is a sanctuary for the weary. You find an empty lounger in the corner away from the door. You lie down. The wood is smooth and contoured to fit the human back. You pull your tunic over your chest like a light blanket, just to keep the drafts away. You close your eyes. Now you feel the true effect of the bath. Your body is pulsating. You can feel the beat of your heart in your fingertips, in your toes, in your eyelids. Thump, thump, thump. It is a slow, powerful rhythm. Your skin feels tight and clean, buzzing with a phantom warmth that radiates from the inside out. It is the post-bath glow, a feeling of total physical euphoria. The exhaustion of the night watch returns, but it has changed character. It is no longer a gritty, painful tiredness. It is a soft, heavy, delicious wave of relaxation. Your limbs feel like they are made of lead. You couldn't lift your arm if you wanted to. You are sinking into the wood of the bench. You listen to the acoustics of the room. The stone walls echo the smallest sounds, turning them into a soothing drone, the drip of water in the distance, the shuffle of sandals on stone, the sigh of a man settling onto a bench. It is a symphony of peace. Your mind begins to wander, untethered. You think about the wall again, but it feels small now, a toy wall in a toy world. You think about the snow, but it can't touch you. You're clean, you're warm, you're dry. You think about your sandals, the caligee. You think about how you will need to oil the leather later to keep them soft. You visualize the process, the smell of the tallow, the rag rubbing into the leather, the darkening of the brown hide. It is a boring thought, a mundane chore, and that makes it perfect. It is a problem for later, not for now. For now, there is only the sensation of your back against the wood, the rise and fall of your chest, the tingling of your clean skin. You drift, you float. You're hovering on the edge of sleep, a deep, restorative sleep that has been earned through labour and cold. You let go of the last thread of tension holding your neck up. Your head lolls to the side, your breathing deepens. You are safe in the heart of the fort. The legions guard the walls, so you don't have to. You can sleep, you can dream. The world fades into a comfortable grey mist. You lie on the wooden bench in the tepidarium for a while longer, letting the last ripples of the water's energy settle into a calm, steady hum beneath your skin. But eventually the rhythm of the day calls you. Not the rhythm of duty, that is for the poor souls marching on the parade ground, but the rhythm of rest. You sit up, swinging your legs over the side of the lounger. The movement is fluid, easy. The stiffness that plagued you on the wall has completely vanished, dissolved by the steam and the oil. You pick up your tunic. It is the clean, dry one you brought with you. You pull it over your head. The wool feels different now against your scrubbed, sensitive skin. It feels softer, warmer. It drapes over your shoulders, familiar and comforting. You tie your belt, loosely this time. You slide your feet into your soft leather slippers. You are dressed, but you are not in uniform. You are a civilian in your own home. You push open the heavy oak door of the bathhouse and step back out into the world. The air outside is still cold, crisp, with the lingering frost of winter, but it no longer feels like an enemy. It feels refreshing. The contrast between the humid heat of the baths and the sharp nip of the air is invigorating. You feel a layer of heat trapped between your skin and your tunic, a personal shield that the wind cannot penetrate. You are carrying the warmth of the hypercaust within you. The fort is fully awake now. It is midday. You walk slowly down the Via Principalis, the main street. The snow has turned to slush under the feet of hundreds of men. You see a patrol marching out towards the gate, their armour clattering, their faces set and serious. You watch them pass with a detached sense of pity. They are going out into the cold, you are going in. It is a delicious feeling, the joy of missing out, the pleasure of having done your work while they slept so you can sleep while they work. You pass the granaries, huge stone buildings with raised floors to keep the damp out. You can hear the clerks tallying sacks of grain, their voices shouting out numbers. You pass the workshops, hearing the screech of a grindstone sharpening a sword. The fort is a machine of war, noisy and relentless, but you are a ghost floating through the machine. These sounds do not demand your attention. They are just the background noise of your life, a reminder that the system is working, that you are safe to rest because others are keeping watch. You arrive back at your barracks block. The door is closed. You push it open and step inside. The room is empty again. The morning rush is over, and your messmates are all out on duty. The room is dim, lit only by the grey daylight filtering through the small windows and the dying embers of the hearth in the centre. It smells of wood smoke and old leather, but now, clean as you are, the smell feels welcoming. It smells like home. You walk to your bunk, your space. It is a small kingdom, just 6 feet of straw and wood, but it is yours. You sit down on the edge of the mattress. The straw rustles softly. There is one last ritual before sleep. You reach under your bunk and pull out a small ceramic jug and a wooden cup. It is your personal ration of wine saved for moments like this. It is not the sour vinegar water you drank on the wall. This is a dark, heavy red wine from Gaul. You pour a small amount into the cup. You walk over to the hearth in the centre of the room. A blackened iron pot of water hangs over the low fire, kept hot for washing or drinking. You use a ladle to scoop out a little hot water and mix it into your wine. You return to your bunk, cradling the warm cup in both hands. You bring it to your nose. The steam rises up, carrying the scent of dark grapes, oak barrels, and a hint of honey that you added days ago. You take a sip. The liquid is warm, soothing, and sweet. It coats your throat, washing away the last taste of the cold air. It settles in your stomach, a warm, heavy stone that radiates relaxation outwards to your limbs. The alcohol is mild, diluted by the water, but it does its work. It blurs the sharp edges of your thoughts. It softens the world. You take another sip, then another. You are drinking peace. You look around the room at the empty bunks, the hanging armour, the stacked shields. These are the tools of violence, but right now they are silent. They are just objects, shadows in a quiet room. You finish the wine and set the cup down on the floor. It is time. You lie back on the mattress. You pull the heavy wool blanket up. You tuck it in around your shoulders, around your feet, making sure there are no gaps. You create a cocoon. The mattress conforms to your body. The straw compresses, holding you. You turn onto your side, curling your legs up slightly. It is the position of safety. Your eyes are open, staring at the wall next to your face. The plaster is rough, uneven. You trace the bumps with your eyes. Your eyelids are getting heavier with every breath. The warmth of the bath, the fullness of the bread, the soothing weight of the wine, they all combine into a powerful sedative. You listen to the sounds of the fort outside. They are muffled by the thick stone walls of the barracks. The shouting of a centurion becomes a distant murmur. The clang of the blacksmith becomes a rhythmic lullaby. These are the sounds of safety. If the fort were silent, you would worry. But the noise means the guards are at their posts, the walls are manned. You don't have to listen for danger, you can let go. You feel your breathing shift. It becomes deeper, slower. The tension in your jaw releases. Your hands, curled loosely on the blanket, go still. The grey light in the room seems to dim. The edges of your vision blur. You are no longer a soldier on the edge of the empire. You are just a man, warm and safe. The wall is far away, the snow is far away. There is only the blanket, only the warmth. Drifting and sinking, the stone walls of the barracks dissolve. The grey timber ceiling fades away. The smell of wood smoke and old leather gently evaporates, replaced by something sweeter, something drier. You are no longer lying on a straw mattress in the north of Britannia. You are drifting, you are floating, and as your mind unspools, it pulls you back across the miles, across the years, back to the place where your blood was born. The light is different here. It is not the weak, watery light of the northern winter. It is gold, thick, heavy, liquid gold above. It pours down from a sky that is an impossible shade of azure blue, deep and endless, without a single cloud to mar its perfection. You are walking down a path. The ground beneath your feet is not frozen mud or cold stone. It is dry, red earth. It is warm dust that puffs up softly around your sandals with every step. You can feel the heat of the ground radiating up through the soles of your shoes, warming your arches, warming your ankles. It is a dry, baking heat, the kind that soaks into the earth all day and lingers long into the evening. You are walking through a vineyard. The vines stretch out in long, straight rows on either side of you, climbing up their wooden trellises. They are lush and green, heavy with life. The leaves are broad, creating a dappled shade on the ground. You reach out your hand as you walk, letting your fingertips brush against the leaves. They feel rough and warm, papery and alive. The air here smells of rosemary and wild thyme. It smells of resin from the pine trees and the sweet fermenting scent of sun-ripened grapes. It is a heady perfume, thick and drowsy. You take a deep breath, filling your lungs with this dry, aromatic air. It feels like breathing in sunlight. Listen to the sound of this place. It is not silent, but it is peaceful. The air is filled with the sound of cicadas. A constant rhythmic thrumming that rises and falls in the heat. It is the sound of summer. It is the sound of a lazy afternoon where time has stopped. Occasionally you hear the distant cooing of a dove, a soft morning call that echoes through the olive groves. You keep walking, slowly, unhurried. You are not on patrol here. You're not marching, you're strolling. Your tunic is light linen, white and loose, fluttering slightly in the gentle breeze that comes off the sea. You can't see the sea yet, but you know it is there, just over the crest of the hill, glistening like a sheet of hammered silver. You come to an old stone wall. It's not a military wall. It is a low, crumbling wall made of sun-bleached fieldstones, holding back the terraced earth of the hillside. Lizards dart in and out of the cracks, quick flashes of green and brown. You stop and sit down on the wall. The stone is hot against your legs, absorbed from hours of midday sun. It feels wonderful. It feels like a warm hand resting on your skin. You look out over the valley. It is a patchwork quilt of green and gold. You see the silver green of the olive trees, their leaves shimmering as the wind turns them over. You see the tall, dark spikes of the cypress trees standing like sentinels against the blue sky. You see the terracotta roofs of a small village in the distance, clustered around a square tower. Smoke rises lazily from a chimney, going straight up in the still air. This is home. This is the memory your body holds on to when the frost bites at your fingers. This is the place where the sun lives. You reach up and pluck a grape from a vine hanging near your head. It is small, dark purple, coated in a fine, dusty bloom. You pop it into your mouth. It bursts against your tongue, sweet, warm, and intense. It tastes of the earth and the rain and the sun. It tastes of life. You lean back, resting your weight on your hands, tilting your face up to the sky. You close your eyes. The sun beats down on your eyelids, creating a warm red glow behind them. You can feel the heat pressing gently against your forehead, your cheeks, your throat. It relaxes every tiny muscle in your face. The furrow between your eyebrows smooths out. The tension in your jaw melts away. In the distance you hear a sound, laughter, faint happy laughter. Children playing somewhere near the village fountain. It is a happy sound, light and carefree. It reminds you that there is joy in the world, that there are places where the only worry is whether the harvest will be good. You feel a deep swelling sense of contentment. You are part of this land. Even if you are far away, guarding a cold wall at the edge of the world, this land is inside you. It anchors you. The sound of the cicadas seems to get louder, a hypnotic drone that wraps around your mind like a blanket. It pushes away any remaining thoughts. There is no past, no future. Only this golden afternoon. Only this warm stone, only this sun. Your breathing slows down to match the rhythm of the cicadas. In and out. In and out. You feel heavy, rooted to the earth. You are becoming part of the landscape. You are as still as the cypress trees. You are as warm as the stones. A gentle breeze brushes your cheek, carrying the scent of lavender. It feels like a caress. You feel safe here. Totally, completely. There are no enemies in this valley, only sunlight and shadow. You let go. You let yourself sink deeper into the memory, deeper into the warmth. The golden light begins to soften, turning into a hazy twilight purple. The sun is dipping lower, casting long, soft shadows across the vineyard. The air cools slightly, becoming perfect, silky against your skin. You are drifting through the olive groves, drifting towards the sunset, drifting into a deep, dreamless peace. The sun has slipped behind the western hills of your dream. The golden light of the afternoon has mellowed into a deep, rich twilight. The sky above the vineyard is changing colour, shifting from azure blue to a soft, velvety indigo. The air cools down, but it's not cold. It is the perfect temperature, a gentle caress on your skin that feels like silk. The buzzing of the cicadas fades away, replaced by a profound, heavy silence that blankets the valley. You are still lying on the warm stone wall, looking up. The world is darkening around you, losing its edges, losing its definition. The olive trees become soft, dark shapes. The path becomes a grey ribbon. Everything is slowing down. The earth is exhaling, releasing the heat of the day into the night. You feel that rising warmth wrapping around you, holding you in a gentle embrace. High above, in the darkening bowl of the sky, the first stars begin to appear. They are not sharp or piercing, they are soft pulsating lights watching over you. You decide to count them. It is a game you played as a child lying on the roof of your father's house. You focus your heavy eyes on the vast expanse above. You see the first star. 1. It is bright and steady, a beacon of calm. As you look at it, you feel a wave of relaxation wash down from the top of your head, smoothing out your forehead, relaxing your scalp. Your thoughts are becoming quiet. The noise of the world is drifting away. You see another star lower in the sky. 2. It twinkles gently. You feel your shoulders drop. The tension in your neck dissolves like mist. Your arms feel heavy, so heavy that they are sinking into the warm stone beneath you. You're anchored to the earth. You're safe. 3. A third star appears. You take a deep, slow breath in and out. Your chest rises and falls with the rhythm of the tides. Your heartbeat slows down, steady and strong. Thump, thump. 4. Another point of light. You feel the relaxation flowing down your spine, vertebrae by vertebrae, releasing every knot, every tightness. Your back is supported. You have nothing to carry, no armour, no shield, no burdens, just you. 5. This star is faint, barely there. You have to soften your gaze to see it. Your eyelids are so heavy now they want to close. It is an effort to keep them open, an effort you no longer want to make. 6. Your hips and your legs feel loose and heavy. The large muscles of your thighs let go of their tension. Your knees unlock. Your feet relax, turning outwards. You're melting into the darkness. 7. The sky is filling with diamonds, but you are not looking at them anymore. You are feeling them. You are feeling the peace they bring, a deep, ancient peace that has existed for millions of years. 8. You are drifting deeper now, deeper than the vineyard, deeper than the memory. You are entering a space of pure stillness, a void that is warm and comforting. 9. Your breathing is a whisper. Your body is asleep. Your mind is untethered, floating free. 10. You let go completely. The stars blur into a single comforting haze. The sky wraps around you like a dark velvet cloak. You are no longer counting. You are no longer watching. You are simply existing. You are sinking down, 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 into the deepest, softest part of the night. The boundary between you and the dream dissolves. There is only silence. There is only peace. There is only sleep. The dream of the vineyard fades gently, not like a bubble bursting, but like mist evaporating in the morning sun. It leaves behind a residue of warmth that settles deep in your bones. You're back in your bunk now. You can feel the familiar rough texture of the wool blanket against your cheek, but it no longer feels scratchy. It feels like an embrace. The fire in the hearth has burned down to its last embers, casting a faint, dying glow on the timber beams above. The shadows in the room are long and soft, holding the space in a quiet suspension. The breathing of the other men is a steady, rhythmic ocean of sound that surrounds you. It is the sound of the pack, the sound of the herd sleeping safely together. You don't need to move, you don't need to think. The wall is standing, the stone is holding. The snow is falling outside, covering the world in silence, but it cannot touch you here. You have done your duty. You have walked the line. You have earned this rest. Let the darkness come closer. It is a friend. It is a heavy, soft curtain closing over the stage of the day. There is nothing left to see, there is nothing left to hear. Your body is heavy, your mind is empty, you are safe, totally, completely safe. Sleep now, soldier of Rome, sleep, sleep.